Greetings, fellow keepers. It's Soniel here with the Keeper's Corner. We're going to be checking out the Gathering Storm special campaign, which launched just a couple days ago. And this is, of course, the most challenging campaign to date, if you are not yet aware. I know a lot of you guys are struggling with this, and unfortunately, a large number of players are going to probably be unable to complete the final stage here on Extreme. That being said, you aren't missing out on very much. Kragnor as a monster, the reward for completing this on Extreme is nothing more than a regular Undead Warlord legendary monster. He's got about 100 more attack and defense and just about the same HP rating. This is, of course, the third Chapter 3 Revenge campaign on the same theme as the Korgan's Revenge and the Marul's campaign that we had. And much like the others, this was designed by Mr. Rohan, who I think has done an excellent job, once again, at creating a challenging and unique campaign for us to work on. Now, the key to this first chapter we're going to look at here, Chapter 7, where the Black Fist Enforcer is going to be the boss here. All of the bosses are regular monsters in these stages except for the final one, except they have a boss status which gives them additional stun resist and some other attributes, and all of them have a gimmick. This one, for example, has a rapid fire frenzy similar to the Amazon that causes all of the mobs in the room to have their cooldowns reset, which will force you to rely on your soul skills almost exclusively. So we're going to want to make sure that we have the ability to stun him out of that if we can, and if not, we're going to want to make sure that we can either DPS the whole room with our soul skills or to keep our soul energy going. So the number one team for this, if you have them available to you, is going to be this combination here of the Valkyrie, the Ninja, the Cleric, and the Mystic. On the Valkyrie, you're going to want to be running Righteous Bolt, Light of Wrath, Shield of Wrath, and on the Ninja, the Shadow Slash, Shuriken Throw, Shadow Step. And in that situation, you're going to want to just be focusing on spamming Smoke Bombs and Doom as much as you can, and relying on that Light of Wrath for the soul energy. However, we are going to go with a more common setup, and this will be using the Blackguard and any DPS hero in the rear, preferably an AoE DPS, either the Archmage or the Warlock. You could also substitute the Shaman as a pseudo DPS or AoE DPS because of the Earthen Strike, and there are a lot of 3 deep rows in here. With the Blackguard, I don't want to run all epics on every hero. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of other gear, and you can't quite do this one naked. But I went ahead and took his epic plate off of him and threw this random green on him. You're going to want to run the Hell's Bulwark. You're going to want to run the Death Glare, Vicious Strike, and Double Swing. And then on the Cleric, you're going to want your Powerful Heal, Cleanse, Righteous Call, Healer, Charismatic Leader. The Mystic is going to be running with your typical PvP build, Confuse, Disenchant, Foretell. And gear-wise, in terms of substitute gear, the Blackguard could probably do this up to Forbidden Blade and Shell of Protection at lower stars and lower level. The Cleric could run Crystal Hammer and Moon Mace, Mithril Mail to Chain Skin. And the Warlock, if you don't have a Wand of Endless Suffering, you can run the Archmage with the Rod of Ruin and substitute the Code of Quickening or the Vicious Vestments. And the Mystic here, of course, with the Nature's Offering is the premier weapon for her. I put this low-level Guise of Mineus, but of course if you have a Vicious Vestments or Code of Quickening, or if you have an Aetheron Robes, obviously go with your best gear on each hero. And the key to this is going to be using our Soul Rend on the final boss, and hoping that the stun sticks. I've heard various reports from a number of people. I've done this a couple of different times now. As I mentioned, the boss status monsters are supposed to have an additional stun resist. However, myself and a number of others have had instances where if you stun that boss that we'll see here in this final stage soon enough, the stun will seemingly last forever. At least usually until you kill him, but definitely through his frenzy. And then sometimes it seems like the stun cleanses off of him like almost instantly. So that's why we definitely want to bring our AoE DPS as a backup. And we want to make sure that we have some soul skill DPS available to us in case he does get that frenzy off. Because once the frenzy goes off, you don't really get any turns. So again, you have to rely on those soul skills, which is of course what makes the Valkyrie so powerful, because she can guarantee you that you're going into that final room with full soul energy. Now, of course, at lower levels, your DPS is going to be a little slower than this. You're going to want to make sure that you're cleansing the Nightmare debuff off of your DPS heroes first. If the Mystic or the Cleric get Nightmare on them, don't worry about it. Make sure that you target the other guys first. And then when we get into this room here, we want to stun this Black Fist Evoker when we're able to. You see him hiding in the corner there. That's going to be our target enemy to take care of in this room. Now, you see me spamming my soul skills here because I have a good feel for how long it's going to take me to take this room out. You should know your own heroes and their soul generation at this point. And you want to make sure that you're going into the next room with as much soul energy as possible, and absolutely with the soul rend on available to you and not on cooldown, and if possible, all 3 soul skills here should be available to you and not on cooldown. Well, it appears these guys act as a mini wall, so that's going to prevent us from targeting the Black Fist Evoker right away, so we're going to go ahead and hit him with another Shadow Sensor. And again, if you're using the Archmage, you'd be using your Meteor Swarm as opposed to the Shadow Sensor. If you're using the Shaman, he's going to allow you to hit those back lines. But as we get down to a few enemies here, we're going to have to slow ourselves down. Unfortunately, with the Blackguard wearing that lesser armor, he's taken quite a bit of damage. So hopefully that you guys aren't losing your tank as you're coming into the final room here. But coming into this room, we want to make sure that we're popping this Soul Rend onto the right guy and not the wrong guy like we just did. Soul Rend goes on the boss, not the bottom dude. But in the event that Soul Rend doesn't go off, we want to make sure that we get our Doom and our Shadow Sensor out as soon as possible. Our Doom and our Shadow Sensor are going to help pick these guys off. As you can see with the higher level wand and Warlock, it did quite a bit of damage to him there. Fortunately, my targeting on my game is acting funky right now and not choosing who I wish it to. And there we go, it stunned him finally. But the idea, of course, is to stun him when you come into the room, not after he's already cast his frenzy. Again, the idea is to stun him the second you enter the room. And I know a few others used the Thief in their 4th slot here because of his quick initiative and the stun on his cheap shot. And a lot of reports that paired with the Blackguard helped quite a bit as well. But once we get him out of there, then the rest of the room is pretty self-explanatory. You just clear these guys off as quickly as you can so that they don't debuff and kill you. You want to make sure that the Evokers go down as quickly as possible. And there we have it, is Chapter 7. Again, I know it's a little difficult with these higher star heroes to get an idea of how difficult this is for someone in the high 30s or low 40s, but a lot of the end of this campaign is geared towards higher level players. We're going to be coming back and checking out 8, 9, and 10, and then doing a full run on Chapter 11 here. So make sure you guys stay tuned to check those ones out. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Keeper's Corner to stay in tune with all of our new updates and things like that. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and leave any comments for any content you guys would like to see, and we will see you shortly with the next one.